So what we've been talking about is filing complaints against school districts for anything you want, because that's what they're doing to you. They're filing for complaints that don't even cite an allegation, and the state special ed hearing officers are just letting them go through. I was talking to you guys about a case in New York, but there's also at least 2 cases that I'm aware of in Pennsylvania, where hearing officers, it doesn't matter. The SPED director in Pennsylvania, I spoke to the state SPED director, and she couldn't tell me where in this complaint was the allegation that the parent broke a law or violated some regulation. She couldn't show it to me. She kept saying it, but I kept saying, where? Tell me the name of the law, the regulation. There's 307 pages, I told her. She couldn't. And it's because in Pennsylvania, in New York, in Massachusetts, they get away with this. And so I've told OSEP that I'm going to tell every parent that I know that when the school district tells you no for anything, file for a hearing. And it's real easy. 99% of the time, it's going to be because the school district denied FAPE to your kid. So the first thing you're going to say is the school district denied FAPE. 300.101, I believe, or 111. So you just cite that law. Then you're going to cite a law that says the school district denied my right to meaningfully participate in the decision-making process. You're going to cite them for that. If they don't give you a team meeting with all of the people that you need at that team meeting, they don't get to make unilateral decisions regarding the team members. If there's a team meeting and they're talking about your kid's IEP, you need everybody there. And the only way everybody can't be there is if both parties agree that everybody can't be there. Okay? That's how this works. Thank you for coming back. I can't even believe it. But anyway, so file for the damn hearing. Don't worry about it. What the hearing is, you guys, honest to God, it's a more formal team meeting. That's all it is. You're in a big room, a lot of chairs. And the only people that are actually in the room are the hearing officer, you, your attorney, or someone else that you brought with you, the school district staff, the school district shade, the school district, their attorney, and the SPED director. That's the school district representative. And then after that, all of the witnesses that you call and they call. And I'm going to teach you some tricks about calling people as witnesses. But anyway, so that's what we've been talking about. And I was on a roll, and because of the connection, it screwed me all up. So I was about to tell parents about when you request an IEE at public expense. And in the law says, okay, let me see, I'm going to do this solo. Okay, so here's the law for an IEE. When you request an IEE and what the school district's obligation is in this process, okay? So here's the part where I was talking about. If a parent requests an independent educational evaluation at public expense, the public agency must, without unnecessary delay, they got 2 options, okay? One is file a due process complaint to show the evaluation was appropriate. It's not against you, okay? And 2, but the reason why it's against you is because it's about your kid, and you have to show that it's not. So you have to counter whatever there's, otherwise you're going to lose. So you have to actually go, okay? Or they have to actually give you the independent evaluation of public expense unless the public agency demonstrates in a hearing that their evaluation, that the parent's evaluation obtained by the parent didn't meet the agency criteria. Okay. Then it says here, if the public agency files a due process complaint, a notice to request a hearing, and the final decision is that the agency's evaluation is appropriate. That's the decision. The parent still has the right to an independent evaluation, just not at the school district's cost. That's the only thing that you're going to a hearing for on an IEE, is to make the school district pay for it. Okay, to fully pay for it. So that's not an option anymore, then there's no reason for anybody to file for a hearing. I'm going to see what I tell parents. Let me tell you what I tell parents, because here's the only thing that's going to happen. You ask for an IE at public expense, the school district literally files for a hearing to prove that their evaluations were comprehensive. The hearing officer only has one choice at that point. to say she agrees because the district proved that their evaluations were comprehensive. You know what that means? You got to go get it done yourself if you really want it. That's it. That's what's going to happen. Now, in some cases, the hearing officer comes back, like in the case with New York, because they were stupid and they used their opinion. I can't even tell you how hard these people fought to prove that their opinions were so much more important than valid and reliable, technically sound instruments. It was fun going to this hearing because these morons are so full of themselves that they actually believe their own hype. They believed that they were going to convince the hearing officer that, yes, we as the school district, way more important than a stupid, certified, accepted, technically sound testing instrument, because we don't have an agenda. Duh. Yeah, they have an agenda. Okay, so of course they came back and said the kid didn't need any services because they didn't want to pay for none. That's what they do. Idiots. What? Yes. Okay. So what did you say? What if they agree, but under their handbook requirements? What if they agree with what? They have a criteria in some schools. Now in Massachusetts, the criteria is real easy. For instance, and I'm going to get to your handbook then. The criteria in Massachusetts is that the state has to, that the whoever you get to do the independent evaluation, if they agree, whoever you get to do the assessment has to meet the it's called the rate setting commission standards. So that standard is a fee scale. So let's say you want a neuropsych. Whoever you get to do the neuropsych has to agree to the state's fee. The state's fee is $1,500. A typical neuropsych is $3,000. But most neuropsychs in Massachusetts will do it for the rate setting commission standard. Most. So it's all good. Now, according to this federal law, if the district agrees, there's a criteria. Here's the thing. The district has to develop a criteria like Massachusetts did. So each public agency must provide to parents, when you ask for an IEE, an independent evaluation, information about where an independent evaluation may be obtained. That doesn't mean you have to choose from that list. That means they have to provide you a list, because why would you know what a neuropsych is? Okay, why would you know where to find one? And the school district has to provide you with their criteria applicable for an independent evaluation as set forth in the paragraphs for the purposes of this part. An independent evaluation means an evaluation conducted by a this is one of the criteria that the school district will give you. This is what should be in their handbook, okay, for you to meet this. It must be conducted by a qualified examiner who is not employed by the public agency responsible for the education of the child in question. Do you understand? So it can't be a teacher. I've actually had parents tell me that. So there's the law that says it can't be a teacher. A teacher can't do a functional behavioral assessment. Number one, a teacher can't do a functional behavioral assessment because the teacher has to be qualified. So if you're getting an assessment and you're doing a functional behavioral assessment, number one, the teacher needs consent to do an assessment on your child. Okay, that's number one. It doesn't matter that she's a teacher and she's doing it in the school. She needs to have credentials in that field. Otherwise, the test is no good. And good, now we can go to hearing and I can prove that she's an idiot and the school's dumb and they should have made sure they had qualified people. Now they have to pay $5,000 for an FBA. Good. Okay, the teacher's not qualified to do any of this. And a resume will say. So their handbook has to say, okay, wait a minute. Their handbook has to say what that criteria is, okay? So the first thing it has to say, if you look at that page right there, the independent, okay, qualified, here it is right here, by a qualified examiner who was not employed by the public agency. Independent means that person doesn't work for them. Now, they may know of independent evaluators, but they are not contracted people. They may have done evaluations, but that's why I tell you guys, don't go by that list. Go find your own. All you have to do is make sure you meet their standards, their criteria, like in New York. the parent in New York, the school district's criteria is the person that you got had to be within 250 miles of the school district. And they had to be licensed and or certified in the areas for which you wanted the evaluation. That's almost everything. So you have to, okay, where is it? Parents must, upon request. The person, okay. A parent has a right to an independent evaluation at public if the parent disagrees with an evaluation obtained by subject to the conditions in paragraphs 2 through 4. So the public agency may, I'm just reading, may ask for reasons. That's another thing. You don't have to give a reason if you don't want to. There's nothing in the law that says other than this. The public agency may ask for the parent's reason why he or she objects to the evaluation. However, the public agency may not require the parent to provide an explanation and may not unreasonably delay either providing the independent eval at public expense or filing for a due process complaint to request a due process hearing to defend the public evaluation. Okay, you're entitled to 1 per year. Okay, every time the school district does an evaluation on your kid, you can ask for an independent every single time. But you have to understand, you have to prove that theirs is bad. Must be considered public if it meets the criteria in any decision. I'm just reading to see what else it says about the criteria. Okay, here it is, agency criteria. If an independent evaluation is at public expense, the criteria under which the evaluation is obtained, including the location of the evaluation and the qualifications of the examiner, must be the same as the criteria that the public agency uses when it initiates an evaluation, to the extent that those criteria are consistent with the parent's rights to an independent evaluation. Except for the criteria described, if this the public agency may not impose conditions or timelines related to obtaining an independent evaluation at public expense. They also did that to this parent in New York. They told the parent in New York that, what did I read? Did I say? They imposed conditions that denied, that restricted how the parent was going to get the independent evaluation done. They can't do that either. There can't be any they can't impose any type of conditions or restrictions other than whoever does the evaluation, whoever they agree, if they agree to do an independent evaluation, all you have to do is make sure that that person is licensed and credentialed in the field for which you're getting that evaluation. If you do that, you're good straight across the board. So if you wanted a psychoeducational evaluation, all you have to do is go to a psychologist, a licensed psychologist, to get that done. If you wanted a functional behavioral assessment, you could get a psychologist. But what you need to get is a board certified behaviorist to come into the school and do an observation, identify the target behaviors, make sure that they determined, they used interventions as part of their evaluation so that you can figure out, does this intervention work? And it's in the report that they've concluded that this particular intervention with this kid actually decreased this behavior. That has to be in there. There's certain things everybody has to do. So now, rather than go through all of this, what I usually tell the parents is, if you have state insurance, use your own insurance and go get this done. That's what you do. You use your insurance, you contact the doctor, you go through the referral process if you have to, whatever your insurance company says. You go to them and you tell them you want this done, and you go get it done, okay, through your state insurance. And then you skip your happy little butt right over to the school district. You give them your evaluation and you tell them you want a meeting. You want a team meeting to discuss the results. And you tell them you're only giving them 10 days to make that decision about to have the team meeting. You want a team meeting within 10 days, if not sooner. That's what you tell them. And you don't give them that evaluation until you've reviewed it. I have sent letters to OPEB requesting policy guidance on many issues. Yeah, good luck. OSEP sent me an email stating that they don't get involved in litigation issues. Okay, they don't. What should the next step be? What you do is you rephrase your question. Okay, if you're in litigation with the school on that issue, you're not going to get that letter. Okay, but if you tell me what you want, there's probably an OSEP letter to that issue. Whatever, tell me all of the areas that you want a policy letter on. And I'm telling you, there's a letter more than likely already written. They have already written it. Okay. So what you could do is say, could you tell me if there are OSEP letters regarding these issues? And then just list all the issues, or just do one at a time. Because like I said, they're dumb too. And they're lazy. They don't want to do it. Listen, nobody wants to do their job. They work for the state. Because see, if they do their job, they get a certain amount of money. If they don't do their job, guess what? They still get that same paycheck. Because if you work for the state, apparently you don't get fired unless they actually filmed you stealing money from the till or doing your secretary on your desk. I'm telling you, that's the only way you get fired from a state agency that I've seen, because I've even seen them steal and they don't get in trouble. So, I mean, hey, so what I would do is send them, don't ask them for a policy letter. Ask them if there is a policy letter on this, and they will send it to you. Or they will tell you where to go get it. If you don't get anywhere with them, you tell me, Timmy, is there one on that? I just did it for somebody. Was it you? I just did that for. Probably was anything like you described. Of course not, honey. I know it wasn't like anything I described. Your son's IEP in the private. First of all, that's another thing. What you guys can do is you can actually get people to come and do a program evaluation regarding your kid's placement. Preferably, so let's say you guys go and you get the insurance company to pay for a neuropsychological evaluation. Now, you can ask your insurance company, would that cover an observation of the school? They might say yes. Now, I know in Massachusetts, they do have part of their billing for the criteria includes an observation and includes consultation with the parent. So there's a fee for that. So if you find somebody to do an evaluation, if you want somebody to do an evaluation to determine if your kid's IEP is providing FAPE and the program that their kid is in is providing FAPE, what you need to do is get somebody to do an outside evaluation. Go to your insurance company. I'm telling you guys what to do. Go to your insurance company, get an independent evaluation. Okay, contact somebody reputable, preferably a hospital. Massachusetts General Hospital is great. They have wonderful people there that do evaluations, but it's my understanding that they don't do the observation. So whoever you contact, find out about, do some research on these people. Don't just hire some Joe Smo down the street, because some of these people are in the back pockets of the school. They're independents, but they're in the back pocket of the school. Like, for instance, I would be in your back pocket. That's what I would be. I would be in the parents' back pocket. So everything that I did would be geared toward you guys, to making it, for making everything better for you guys, for your kid. Whereas the school district's people, they make it better for the school district. So the school district doesn't have to provide you with anything. They can just lie and say they did and then don't. That's what they're doing to you guys. So I have filed many complaints with Texas. They are guarding the 10 house, limiting the scope of investigation. That's okay. You know what you do? Wait for first of all, slow down. Slow down. Don't file anymore. Every time you get one back and they omitted something, because there's a phrase that I always put in mind. In the event you omit or ignore an allegation, I will reframe and refile on that. They can't take it out, because any under 300 here, okay, 300 through 300.151 through 153 is all about the state investigations. The laws of this, I kid you not. And when you look them up, 351 and 350, one of the regulations, I think it's 152, it actually says that everything that you allege, they have to investigate. So they don't get to change your allegation. They don't get to do that, because now guess what you can do? You can file for an investigation on them. If you cite a violation, if you allege a violation of the idea, they don't get to change it. And if they do, you tell them. If you take it, that's why when they, like in Massachusetts, right? Every time you file a complaint in Massachusetts, the Department of Education calls you on the phone, because what they're trying to do is limit the scope of their investigation. So before, I used to talk to them and I would forget all the stuff that I put in my thing. So what they would do is the only things that we discussed on the phone is the only things they investigate. Meanwhile, Timmy put that crap in writing. So when I got it back, I was like, what the hell? You missed all of this. I refiled it again. Okay. What they did is they came back and they said, we already investigated that. Show me. Sent it right back to them. Then I filed a complaint against them because under that dispute resolution thing that I sent you guys, page 22, B12 says, can you file against the state for violations of IDEA? Guess what it says? Yes, you can. They have to investigate themselves. Now, they can hire an entity to come in and investigate themselves, or they can do it themselves. Well, you know what's going to happen with that, right? And that's exactly what happens because they're no good. Okay, don't trust anybody. I don't even want you guys to trust me. You guys can't trust anybody. You're talking about your kid. You don't trust anybody. And if they can't put it in writing, then they're not doing it. If they change it, then they lie. And what you can do with them is, I kid you not, Mary, file for a hearing against them. And that's what you tell them in your complaint. If you do not investigate all areas that I allege took place, if you try or attempt to remove any of my allegations, to limit the scope of this investigation, I will refile in a due process hearing against you. I will drag you in front of a hearing officer. Here's the thing. Nobody cares if you win, lose, or draw. You know why? It irritates them. Now you have a record. So OSEP's not listening to you? Good. You know when OSEP will listen? When they have a whole bunch of complaints and a whole bunch of hearings they have to look at, because now everything skyrocketed in the last year because now parents are filing for everything. In Pennsylvania, I think it was in 2010, the state got in trouble, or they just fixed it in 2010, where the State Department of Education, the people that were doing the investigations, yes, I am, honey. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. It's something with my internet. Shelley said that. Tricia Shay Saunders. So Amanda, I hope I answered your question as far as their handbook. Just look in their handbook and see what their criteria is. It's a criteria. Say, what is the criteria? I want to know what the school district's criteria is for if I go and get an independent evaluator and I want you guys to pay for it. What is it? Where is it? I don't see it. You guys agreed to pay for an independent evaluator, but you're not telling me what your criteria is. I don't know. Well, you use our list. I'm not using your list. There's a reason why that's your list. There's a reason. The last time a parent used a list from the school district, there was a dead woman on it. I kid you not. It was so funny. I think I told you guys the story, but hi, Barbara. But whoever didn't hear it, did you get my address? Barbara, I'm going to kill you. Because I sent you the address before. I just couldn't find out where it's got. I hope I did. I thought I did. But anyway, just send me that stuff. So the parent in New York, it was in New York, because they said they couldn't give us, one of the reasons why they didn't want to give her the evaluation, in addition to the fact that their opinions are sacred, they're gods. In this town that's this big, they're gods. So of course their opinions are so important. And how dare you question my authority? Bite me. So anyhow, we're in the hearing. And so we got the list in front of us. And I told the mother, before we went to hearing, the mother called everybody on the list to find out about that. So when we went to hearing, we could say, because the first thing they're going to say is she never even bothered to contact them. Oh, but we did. And what we found out is there was a dead woman on it. It was so funny when I asked the SPED director about this woman who was on the list. And I said, who's this? Well, she's so-and-so. So have you ever updated your list? Well, yes, we have. So when did you update the list? It was the last time it was updated, because it was one hell of a raggedy looking, old, copied list of independent evaluators. It was older than dirt. So I said, when was the last time that you updated this list? The stupid SPED director said. Now, I had already written, I don't know if we put it in our complaint, but anywho, I said, when did you? She's testifying in front of me. I'm asking her the questions. That's the other part about you guys filing these hearings on your own without an attorney. Everything that you guys wanted to ask in front of somebody else, you can. I asked the question. So I said to the SPED director, who gave this stupid list to the parent to call to get these people. So the parent calls all of the people. And the people, one was dead. She calls me up and she says, Tammy, I said, what? She said, one of these people I called is dead. I fell right on the floor laughing hysterically. I said, what? What do you mean she's dead? Did she just die? She said, no. She's been dead for 10 years. I said, what? What do you mean she's been dead for 10 years? And she's still on the list? She said, yes. I said, is she within 250 miles of the school? Maybe she's still doing evaluations. I don't know. From the grave. I don't know. So we get the woman in front of us. And I asked her, I set her up. I said, when's the last time you updated this? She said, just like a few years ago. 3, 5, 2, what? She said, about 5 years ago. I said, oh, you did? Is this the list you gave to the parent? Could you identify that document for the record? Yes. So she identifies it for the record. I said, is that the list you gave the parent? Yes. And that's the list for the independent evaluators that you told her she could contact. And these are the people that she can use. You'll accept these people? She said, yes. Could you go down to this name? Who's that? She said, well, she's dead. I said, do you know she's dead? I said it just like that. Do you know she's dead? And I had a smirk on my face. Then I looked at the hearing officer. And the hearing officer was like, what? The woman's dead. She didn't say it, but you could see it all over her face. And so she said, I didn't know. So I said, do you know when she died? And she said, no. I said, 10 years ago. That's when she died, 10 years ago. And I said, so, and then we went through the whole list. And the list, now this is their criteria. This was the list they have to give to the parent. Do you know? I think there was only one person on that list that was viable. And that was their plan. To only have one option for the parent. So they put a bunch of names on the list. So besides the dead person, there was a whole bunch of people that had retired. One guy was 80. He was 80 years old and he hadn't done this in years. And he told the mother he'd do it. You don't even know where to find the damn testing instruments. We don't want your opinion. You have the WISC-V. He said, no, what, dude, what? I'm not buying it for you. What, crazy? School's paying for this. Hello? So he was 80 and retired. I don't even think he was licensed anymore. He was 80. There was a couple of those. Then there was a couple of other people who didn't even live in the state anymore. They lived in a whole nother state. Meanwhile, their criteria is you have to be within 250 miles of the school. There was only one person on that list that was done on purpose because they're no good. So now, because they want to be sneaky, Shelly, who are these people you putting in here, girl? Hi, Wendy. Thank you, Barbara. Don't trust. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Don't trust anybody. They're all crazy. I'm telling you, don't trust me. Don't trust me. You guys can't afford to trust anybody because it's your kid on the line. And I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying I'm a bad person or anything. My best interest, I have chewed out more parents behind their kids and what I wanted to do than you could shake a stick at. When it comes to these kids, I don't care nothing about you guys. I care about the kid. If you get in my way and you hired me, I'm going to move you. You're gonna move. I tell all my parents, when I was representing the normal way, I would tell parents, okay, just so you guys understand how I roll. I do whatever I want within the legal limits of the law. Okay. I never do anything without telling you that I'm going to do it first so that you know, and then we can discuss it. So if you really object, I might not do it. So I'm never going to do anything without your permission or without your knowledge. I'm not like the school. I value your opinion about your kids. I'm funny like that. I think you're kind of important, but you're not more important than a kid to me because my job, you came to me to protect your kid. So am I unorthodox? Yes, I'm unorthodox. Am I untraditional? Yes. Am I, all of those things, that's me. Because I don't care nothing about what everybody is saying the way I'm supposed to act. I'm going to act any damn way I want to get my point across. You're either with me or against me. And if you're against me, that means you're my enemy. If you're my enemy, I got to let you know. And this is how I am with the schools. First of all, if a parent doesn't agree with me and they tie my hands, because when a parent doesn't agree with me and they say, well, I really don't want you to do this and I really don't want you, then I'm done. Because then you go do it, because I don't have time for any of this nonsense. See, I want it done. And when I take on a case, when I did before, the way I took it on, the regular advocacy way, my goal was to end the entire problem. I wasn't just going in for this much. I'm going to end it all. So when we wanted independent evaluations in New York, we got $5,000 worth of See, that's how I roll. That's how we did it. The second hearing was even worse for them. We ended up we truly believe with all of our hearts that the woman that testified, a PT testified, she had worked for this agency for years. Somehow she got a hold of my client's records. She never got consent. So while she's testifying, because she's testifying that what the school district is saying is okay. And they're saying that because the kid can carry his tray, his cafeteria tray, from here to the sink, that means he doesn't need PT. Meanwhile, he can't hop, he can't jump, he can't skip, he can't ride a bike, he can't balance on the balance beam. I mean, seriously, are you kidding me? He's supposed to be able to do certain things at a certain age and he can't do it. And you think that you can determine that so there's no range of motion, none of that. They didn't use the bot tube on this kid. And this wombat is sitting up there testifying that it was okay, that they didn't do this. And when it came time, and I said, how do you know about this kid? Now she's screwed. She said, I said, did you read his evaluation? She said, yes. I said, who gave him to you? She looked at me like deer in the headlights. I said, who gave you the kid's records? She said, so-and-so did. So-and-so. Your subordinate? Yes. So you didn't have consent from the mother to review this kid's records? No, I did not. So are you licensed by the state? You have a license to practice in your field, correct? Yes. And in your regulations for your field, doesn't it say you have to have consent from the parent to review somebody's records? A child? She said, yes, it does. And I said, and you didn't? She said, no, I didn't. Meanwhile, the hearing is being recorded verbatim by a court reporter sitting at the table. So 3 days after she testified, she quit because she threw her own boss in her testimony under the bridge, her own boss. This woman had been working for this particular company for years and years and years. There wasn't no, how are you? Oh, you're retired. There was no retirement party. There was no announcement. There was nothing.